Of means to multiply. In this video, we will be learning how to find the fractions of a whole. In math, the word of means to multiply. In this problem, we are asked what is 2/3 of 24. So what we're going to do is we're going to set this up as a multiplication problem of two fractions. So 2/3, and wherever we see of in math, we're going to replace that with the multiplication sign. And then we're going to make 24 into a fraction. So we want to keep the value of 24. So in order to do that, we're just going to write 24 in the numerator and 1 in the denominator, because 24 divided by 1 is still 24. So we're not changing the value of 24. Now we're just going to multiply. In the numerator, we have 2 times 24, which is 48. And in the denominator, we have 3 times 1, which is 3. Last thing we need to do is simplify. We're going to divide this improper fraction in order to get it into its simplest form. So 48 divided by 3 is, and some of you may be able to do this in your head, 16. So the answer to what is 2/3 of 24 is 16. Let's try another one. This problem asks what is 3/8 of 64, missing our question mark there. So we're going to set this up as a multiplication problem. Of means to multiply. So 3/8 times 64, and we got to make that into a fraction. So again, we're going to put 64 in the numerator and 1 in the denominator, because 64 divided by 1 is still 64. So let's multiply 3 times 64. And if you need to set up a lattice problem or something to solve that, or if you want to add 64 3 times, you're going to get 192. And 8 times 1 is 8. Now we have an improper fraction. We need to simplify that by dividing. So 192 divided by 8. 8 goes into 19 2 times. And 8 goes into 32 4 times. So the answer to this question, what is 3/8 of 64, would be 24. In your math journal, you're going to find questions where it's written in words, and you kind of have to set it up as a multiplication problem. So this one says, if 60 counters are the whole, how many counters make 2/3? So our fraction is 2/3, and our whole is 60. So this question is asking how many counters of 60 is 2/3. So we're going to set this up as 2/3 of 60. What is 2/3 of 60? Again, we need to turn this into a multiplication problem because our of means to multiply. So 2/3 times 60, and we're going to put the 1 underneath the 60. Multiply the numerators. 2 times 60 is 120. And 3 times 1 is 3. We have an improper fraction. In order to simplify, we need to divide. 3 goes into 12 4 times. And 3 goes into 0 0 times. So how many counters make 2/3 of 60? We would say 40 counters. This is question 1 on your homework, on your online homework. So go ahead and pause and think about how would you set this up as a fraction multiplication problem. So 15 counters are your whole, and the fraction is 3/5. How many counters make 3/5 of 15? So set this up as a multiplication problem on your scratch paper, solve, and then type your answer into the online homework. So here's another word problem which is found in your math journals. In fact, if you write this down and remember your answer, you can go ahead and transfer this into your math journal. The problem says, in a school election, 141 fifth graders voted. So that's our whole. That's the total amount of fifth graders that voted. 1/3 voted for Shira, so we're just going to write that as a fraction, and 2/3 voted for Bree. How many votes did Shira get? So for Shira, we want to find what 1/3 of the whole is. So we're going to set this up as 1/3 of 141. And to make this a multiplication problem, it would look like 1/3 times 141 over 1. So 1 times 141 is 141, and 3 times 1 is 3. To simplify, we need to divide. 141 divided by 3. 3 goes into 14 4 times. Subtract, bring down, and 3 goes into 21 7 times. So how many votes did Shira get, or what is 1/3 of 141? That would be 47 votes. So to figure out how many votes Bree got, you could just take 141 and subtract 47, or you could set up another problem. 2/3 of the whole, 2/3 of 141, which would look like 2/3 times 141 over 1. So 141 times 2, you can either multiply or just add it twice, whatever you want to do, is 282. And the denominator is 3 times 1 is 3. And we need to simplify because this is an improper fraction. So I'll set up that division problem up here. 3 goes into 28 9 times. 9 times 3 is 27. Subtract, bring down, and 3 goes into 12 4 times. So Bree got 94 votes. And if we add 94 and 47, it should bring us back up to that whole. This is question number 2 on your homework, so go ahead and pause the video right here. The question is, Thomas ate 3/8 of a bag of 24 cookies. So here's your fraction, here's your of, and here's your whole. It says Mona ate 2/5 of a bag of 25 cookies. So here's the fraction, of, and your whole. Who ate more cookies? So you're going to set up 2 different problems, solve them, and then you're going to write who ate more cookies. So you'll see when you get on your online homework that it's going to ask you to choose a person and the correct answers. Homework question number 3 is, when you see the word of in math, what should you do? So please go on to the online homework and type in your answer for question number 3. So we also see of in other types of problems in math. Let's look at this problem. It says, what is 50% of 10? So again, anytime we see of, we are going to multiply.
Of means to multiply.
So let's look at what this is. 50% of 10. Well, we can't really take a percent of anything, but we can change the percent into a decimal. So what is 50% as a decimal? We would move the decimal place over twice, and it would be 0.5 or 0.50. So what is 0.50 times, anytime we see of, 10? So let's set this up as a lattice, or maybe some of you already know the answer, but for those of you who would like to set this up as a lattice, we're going to set it up as 10 times 0.5. We have 0 here, and 5 times 1 is 5. And we're going to move the decimal over 1 time. So 50% of 10 is 5. Many of you might be thinking, I could have done that in my head, but this is just a general example to show you that of can be used in other places in math. So let's look at the next example. What is 35% of 10? So we're going to set this up as 35% of 10. We're going to change the percent into a decimal because we can't multiply something by a percent. So moving that decimal over 2 places, we have a decimal of 0.35 times 10. So setting up that lattice again, or just knowing that when you multiply by 10, we move the decimal over 1, but we'll show both ways. We have 0.35 here, 10 here. Do our diagonals. 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times 0 is 0. 3 times 1 is 3. And 3 times 0 is 0. So we have 0, 5, 3. And we're moving that decimal over 2 places in our answer. So 3.5 would be the answer. Okay, this is homework question number 4. And the question is, what is 15% of $20? So sometimes when you're at the store, you might see a sale and it'll say 15% off. So this is a time when you might want to figure this out. What is 15% of $20? Because that's how much you would get off of the price. So go ahead and set this up as a multiplication problem, remembering that we need to change our percent to a decimal before solving this. Enter your answer into the online homework.
Of means to multiply.